Can you guys believe it's almost Air Max Day again already? The time flies. But if you're new to Air Max Day, that makes sense because Air Max Day was just created 4 years ago to give us all more reasons to buy shoes, as if we needed them. And what started as a hard pitch to a community that wanted recognition but hates corny consumerism has turned into a flex zone month for fans of the swoosh. Now, when the holiday was first announced, I hated the idea, but after considering it, examining the history, getting out there with George Ocampo, and having an in-depth conversation about the day, I'm on board now. I am a convert. We're going to show you all that on this episode. What's up, guys? I am here with Jazzy of Crush and Lovely and Tyler Blake, marketing consultant, back again. I want to talk to you guys about Air Max Day. Before we dive into Air Max moments and stuff, this is a holiday about a shoe that released in the 80s. Why?
I know, right? You're like, do sneakers need a holiday?
Right.
Is that a real thing? And I think in today's world it is.
Okay.
Sneakers is one of the very few things that sits in between all facets of entertainment. And so we celebrate them as 20 years ago we called sneakerheads. We're celebrating them in the culture. So it only seems right that we somehow identify a moment in the culture outside of a dunk exchange per se.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's really Air Max month when you think about it in terms of all the releases and activations. I mean, I also think it's a plan for Nike to keep the technology relevant, right? We're seeing, Zoom and other, forms of technology come to the forefront. And Air Max has been something that's been traditionally a lifestyle sneaker. Air Max 270, instead of doing innovation, they really made it be a lifestyle sneaker. And what better way to kind of keep a lifestyle image in your head than having a whole holiday around it?
Nike's Air Max program is a pillar not only in sneaker history but also in sneaker culture, and a holiday marking the first Air Max sneaker to hit the market makes sense. Sneaker culture has had some unofficial holidays for years now. Jordan Brand always releases one of their most hyped pairs on Black Friday. All-Star Weekend is a perennial buffet of sneakers. But March 26th is the first time there's a date on the calendar. Now, I always thought Air Max Day was lame. And although it is true that its function is to sell more shoes, it also gives us an opportunity to talk about the moment of Air Max, how it started, how it continues, and that's important. The day makes sense for one huge reason. We have so many sneakers coming out all the time that we don't have the time to consider what is being built around us. And most of the sneakers that launched sneaker culture are now a generation away from their inception. The Air Max 1, the Jordan 1, the Air Force 1. The stories of these sneakers could get lost with time. But as a culture, we should recognize where these moments began, how they happened, and why they continue. Because if we don't understand the context, then what's the point? I do have one gripe left about Air Max Day that we haven't solved yet. I just wish the fans had created it rather than the brand. Now I'm going to hand it over to Chris Danforth from our Berlin office, who's going to give us a history of Nike's Air Max program. Take it away, Chris.
Thanks, Pete. So Nike's been marketing Air for decades now. And while the idea of an actual air bubble in your shoe probably seems pretty normal, at the time, it likely seemed like something out of a science fiction novel. So as far as Air as a prefix, Nike has brought us the Air Force 1, the Air Jordan range, and of course Air Max, but it actually all started with the Nike Air Tailwind. Aerospace tech specialist Frank Rudy first came to Nike with the idea of encapsulating air inside a bag, and the Air Tailwind sneaker was born. The Tailwind released in 1978, and this bubble technology was actually patented in 1980. Visible air arrived in 1987 with Tinker Hatfield's Air Max 1. With the Air Max 180, the air bubble was visible on the outsole for the first time. The Air Max 95 featured an air bubble on the heel as well as the forefoot. The 97 incorporated a full heel-to-toe air bubble for the first time. The Nike Air Max 360 featured no cushioning foam, only air. Then, the Air Max 2015 merged two of Nike's big technology stories, Flyknit and Air. That brings us to 2017, when Nike introduced the Nike Air VaporMax. The VaporMax sole mold is actually composed of over 39,000 components, making it more complex than some high-powered car engines. The Nike Air Tailwind has also been updated and reissued over the years, but not with the same success as the Nike Air Max range. The Air Max range has also gained insane cultural clout over the years, and in the UK, Air Max is basically a cult. Also, given the amount of collaborations that have come out over the years, Pata, Supreme, more recently Virgil Abloh and Sean Wotherspoon, certain models are extremely collectible. When we spoke with Nike designer Tinker Hatfield last year, he confirmed that Nike was working on air bubbles that can actually be inflated or deflated, similarly to how the HyperAdapt can auto-lace around your foot. When will something like this come to market? Well, it's up in the air.
Air Max started as a premier running shoe.
Right.
Putting the bubble, the visible bubble in the shoe was like such an incredible moment, and they really made it about athleticism up until, last year we get the Vapor Max, which is all air, but like, is it a running shoe anymore? Does Air Max matter in terms of an athletic position anymore?
I just took my 16-year-old son shopping, and he runs track as well, and we went and bought all of the new versions of the Air Max, and that's what he's wearing in the daytime with his Nike Tech, and that $600 outfit has nothing to do with track.
Right.
When he's like shopping for his functional gear, his functional sweat, he's not even looking in that category.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess for me though, I'm wearing the Zoom Fly. I think it's an amazing running shoe. The Epic React was another one Nike put a lot of money into. I think Nike's realizing where the technology stands, being a lifestyle part of a fit. Some of the great colorways you guys have on today, like it's part of your outfit. You're not gonna go run a couple miles in them, even though that's the heritage to it. So I think Nike's trying to say, how can we reinvent what our sneakers now become? How can we be retrospective on it and reflect on that, but also acknowledge that this is how people are wearing them today.
Let's take a look at what's happening now with a few Highsnobiety staffers who collect Air Maxes.
Yo, what's up guys? We're sitting here on the couch in the Highsnob NYC office. I'm here with my main man Sam, and we got a bunch of heat in front of us, and I guess we're just gonna talk about Air Maxes today,
Yeah, man, what's going on?
Let's get it, bro. So, Sam, we got a lot of Air Maxes here today, but what was your first pair?
To be honest, I don't even think I know. I would say probably like some Air Max Essentials that I picked up at like the store for like $50 when my Dukes bought me when I was like a little kid. But I've just always kind of really messed with Air Maxes. Air Max 1's definitely like a top favorite silhouette in my opinion. So as you can see, we got a bunch of those here.
We got Air Max. This is the icon, you know what I mean? This was the first one. It's the Air Max 1. So
yeah. It's
always gonna be, this special timeless shoe that everyone has, special sense of sentimentality about. How many pairs of Air Maxes you got, bro? How many you got in the rotation? How many are on ice?
I would say in total I got maybe like 10 pairs of Air Maxes.
Oh, okay.
Nothing crazy. Definitely Air Max 1s all day. I got some 90s, some 95s maybe, but the majority I would say like I probably got like 8 pairs of Air Max 1s. It's a simple, easy to wear runner. Goes with everything.
And how does that play into like your larger collection? Like, do you got like a lot of Air Maxes in the collection? Does everybody need to have Air Maxes in the collection?
Without question. Especially if you like runners, it's where it all comes from. Air Maxes is kind of the foundation of like the runner game. So
you need at least one.
If you mess with any of them, I think you need at least like 5 pairs of Air Maxes. I would say minimum.
Out of what you got right here, which one's your favorite? Because a lot of these are like more recent releases.
I would say these without question.
Recent heat.
These Atmos elephant print Air Maxes, when they came out last year, was an absolute must in my mind. I was lucky enough to get the...
you had the pack.
The pack.
You had the Jordan pack with the threes.
With the Jordan 3, so you got the gold Jumpman on the bottom. And these are just super clean.
Yeah, I think everyone was like super happy when they like said that they were gonna bring this one back.
Yeah, and they did these like real correct. I think on my feet I got the 2016 Air Max Day ones, and those were kind of they dropped the ball on. They didn't do the shape right.
Yeah, the shape wasn't the same. This one, like I knew they did it right because it was like too small for me. Like I got like my true size, and it was like, yo, this is kind of narrow. You might know what these are.
I mean, obviously, I think everyone knows what those are.
These were obviously a big hit in 2017. So, like, what do you think about the way Nike's handling Air Maxes going forward? You know, not only do they have a lot of retros, they're doing retros differently, but then you also have new models. You got Vapor Max, you got 270, you got all types of stuff coming out now.
I think it's cool how they're coming back in style a lot more. I think it's cool to see how some of these big collabs, they're using Air Maxes to be like the foundation. You know, obviously we talked about the Sean Witherspoons, and then you got the Off-Whites. It's cool how they're mix and matching uppers and, you know, soles. You get the Vapor Max sole on pretty much everything now.
All right, dude. Well, I think that's about it. Thanks for coming through.
Absolutely, bro.
What are some of your guys' favorite Air Max moments? So that can be, you know, a colorway, a particular release.
Yeah, I mean, I think of the little boy getting the Air Maxes for Christmas, if it was like 87 or 88, whatever year it was, and Nike turning that into an iconic moment.
It's getting 9 years!
I think the feeling of getting a new shoe, like that was the shoe to get, that classic colorway, the Air Max 1, and that like little kid freaking out over excitement. Like that's something I always think of. That's like a feeling I get when I get shoes now sometimes, you know.
Huff, I feel like, did a friends and family pair years ago, and they had the San Francisco skyline on the back. And I feel like going, again, 2003, 2004, those years, I feel like the storytelling was so intentional and vast and like beautiful. It was just a different time, and you could really have a moment. Today you're fighting against so much. Yeah. Everything to have a moment.
That's Air Max Day, you know, like what better way to create a moment and capture it. And now people are, you know, they have the 30 Days of Air Max campaign. That's why it really is a monthly holiday. And that's what's been so cool about it. This sneaker that's so old and maybe the tech is archaic and people are using it in a different way, but it's nevertheless so relevant.
Well, thanks so much for coming and sitting down and chatting with me today.
Thank you so much for having us. This was fun.
Well, that's it for this episode. We'd love to hear from you all what your favorite Air Maxes are. Do you stick with the classic Air Max 1, or maybe you prefer a more futuristic pair like the Vapor Max or the new 270s? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more. And speaking of more, we'll be back in a couple weeks on March 30th talking about custom sneakers. You know, are they art? Are they worth the money? What's the difference between a custom and a collaboration? We'll answer all that on March 30th. See you then.